How's your shower?
Yeah, good. I need it. I was tired. Woke me up a little bit. Yeah.
I'll just stay home with the boys tomorrow, get some cleaning and that done.
Yeah.
You can do what you want to do.
Yeah, I was just thinking about it. I kind of need to.
You have a bit of a sleep in.
Well, do I sleep in, or like I was just thinking, do I get up at like 4:30 and start early, and then that way you're asleep, and then I can get home by early afternoon and spend the rest of the day with you.
It's up to you.
I don't mind doing early starts.
Yeah, but then you're going to be buggered all day, and what are we going to do in the afternoon? Just sit at home?
I don't know.
And then you're going to
What do you want?
on the couch? Because you'll be buggered when your 4:30 AM start.
What time did you want to, or what do you want to do tomorrow afternoon? Like go.
There's nothing really to do.
Well, if it's a nice day, go down to the park with the boys or something. Or go get fish and chips and go down the lake, or I don't know. I don't know.
It's up to you. If you decide what you want to do, and I'll just fit in with what you want to do.
Well, all next week's raining. Monday's the only good day I've got, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, like all through to the weekend is I can't put a lot of pressure on getting the gold to get the money. It's the hard thing.
Yeah.
And days you can't go out and hunt, it's like you can't make money.
Yeah.
I think I'll just go out tomorrow and start early.
If you stay out all day, stay out all day. Just see how you go. What's the point of going, yeah, I'll be home by early afternoon, and then you're having a real good day and you're onto something, and then you go, definitely I'm going to be home early. Just play it by ear. If you come home early, you come home early. If you don't. Like, that was the whole idea about you stopping working, is you wanted that flexibility to do what you needed to do to get the videos and everything.
Yeah, it's just days spent with you. Like Sundays, my days at home with you guys.
No, but if we need to be flexible and change that, then we just be flexible and change that.
Well, we kind of need to at the moment.
Because the weather's so shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can go out and hunt next week, but I'll be in the rain, I'll be in the lightning, I'll be in the storms. It's just pays to make the most of, like the old saying goes, make hay while the sun shines. Yep. Sun's shining tomorrow and Monday. Yes, alright, well, out tomorrow then. That's my 7th day in a row. I'm buggered. What's up there, guys? Welcome back to Digger Detecting. Welcome to a Sunday morning out in the bush. It's just about to go 10 a.m. It's a beautiful morning. However, it's not exactly where I want to be. I'd rather be at home with the family today, to be honest. And some people probably think I'm complaining. Here he is out in the bush finding gold. What a dream. It is, but look, I won't lie. Doing it every day, this is my 7th day in a row. And normally I always take Sundays off to spend with the family, and gold is important, getting the money is important. This is my full-time job, filming videos, out detecting, coins, relics and gold. But at the end of the day, family is the real treasure, isn't it? It's not the gold, it's not the coins, nor the relics, it's not the videos, I'm sorry, but family is the real treasure, and it's what means the most to me at the end of the day. Here I am sitting out the bush on a Sunday though, but bills need to be paid. I had a chat to Helena last night, and as she said, we're just going to be kicking around home, go out and do what you need to do. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, even leading through to the weekend. Saturday is lightning and 20, 30, 40 mil of rain. That doesn't really worry me, faze me too much. But then again, why not make hay while the sun shines? I said to Helena last night, beautiful day, Sunday, Monday. I'd love to get out, but Sunday's always a day off with the family. But look, here we are. So it is what it is. And I've never shied away from a bit of work. And as I said, some people probably think I'm complaining. Here I am out the bush finding gold, lovely Sunday morning. But I would much rather be at home with the family. So we're going to try and get this done and go hard as we can today for Sunday morning and try and get as much gold as we can. And I'd like to get home and spend the rest of the day with the family as much as I can. Because I fell asleep early on the couch last night. It was a long day yesterday too. So let's go hard today. Let's get the gold and let's get home. Alright, this is a good one. Not as big as what I'd like to see, but they're getting bigger. We've got 2 on the board now, and this is the 3rd. And I will say, as I said before, I've never shied away from hard work. I'll just to keep it interesting, I'll go through a bit of a run through my jobs that I've had over my life. I'm 38 this year. Next month, actually October, the month after. We're still in August. There he is, nice little gold nugget. That's awesome, pretty deep too, that one. And the sun's out too. It's just hitting the back of me shoulders, and must admit, I'd rather be at home with the family, but it's bloody beautiful out here. Love it. So my first job when I left school was a builder. I went and worked for a bloke named Gary, and he was a kit home builder. So what he did was went to different sites, and all the materials, right down to the kitchen sink and the toilet, were dropped off on site. It was kit home, basically build. And someone would purchase that design kit home, all the products would get delivered, the trusses, the frame, everything right down to that, as I said, kitchen sink and the toilet. And me and Gary would come in and we'd build it, we'd put it together, kit home builders. So that was my first job. And as I said, I'll keep going through. I've had a few different jobs over the years. Never afraid of a bit of hard work. But that was my first. And I did that for about probably 12 months, and I was offered an apprenticeship through Gary to continue on being a kit home builder. And well, I never took it. I should have. We'll continue on. Alright, fish on for this next one, and I'll explain about my next job. Well, kind of next job. So after I finished up with Gary, and I did that a bad way too, I'll admit. I was 15, silly. But he offered me an apprenticeship. I was hanging out with dickhead mates, and in the end what happened was I didn't take the apprenticeship. Wait for those speakers to kick in. I'll just put you back on Bluetooth. Headphones have been really funny lately. So I didn't take the apprenticeship. I really should have, because it would have put me on a great path. But then again, we do what we do, and we end up where we end up, and well, there's no regrets, is there? But I hanging around with dickhead mates, and I end up taking off fruit picking, jumping in the car. Look, it's just a long story, but jumping in the car and left home early, young, very young, silly. I come back and come back at around 16, about a year or so later, and my job from there was working on the back of a potato harvester. So anybody who doesn't know what a potato harvester is, it's an implement that gets hooked on the back of a tractor basically. The tractor tows it along, and the potato harvester basically has got claws that digs its way into the ground. It picks up the potatoes go up a conveyor belt, and inside the back of the machine, where the conveyor belt is, you've got about 4 men standing 2 each side, and they've got little chute boxes where they throw all the dirt clods down. That was my job for nearly 2 years after that. A bit of a seasonal job, but by geez, it was good money, really good money. I was 16 years old, earning $1,200 a week. I was working 6 days a week though. And they were long days too, I was working 12, 13, 14 hour days. And as I said, never been afraid of a bit of hard work. And I worked for a bloke named Bill and his brother Jim. It was a family operation actually, and his dad Jeff. And it's just lead, that one. That was my next job. So I went from, hanging around with dickhead mates, and well, I still continued to hang around with dickhead mates, and it didn't help because I had a lot of money working on the back of the harvester every day, 6 days of the week. And you know what I do on the 7th? I go and spend it all, go and cash my cheque, and 2 slabs of beer and a packet of cigarettes, and influence, hanging around people, the influences they give you growing up is key. It really is. I definitely hung around the wrong people at that stage. Let's continue on. We'll get on to the next. Well, we got our next target, finally. It took a little while. And Sounds nice. As I was saying, did the fruit picking. I come back and worked on the potato harvester about 18 months there, and it was quite good because it was just around the corner from home. So I did return to home after I ran away and left home. Silly. And you learn from your mistakes, put it that way. Got him out. Lovely, we do. So did the potato harvester for quite some time, earning good money, still hanging around with idiot friends. Went from that, and I got offered an apprenticeship once again around the corner from home, which was good. Got offered the apprenticeship though, and it was in dairy farming, Cert 3 in agriculture and horticulture. And I took that up, went and worked for a couple named Phil and Diane. Once again, a family run farm, so they had 2 sons working there, Daryl and Simon, and spent the next couple of years there. And Diane was, gotcha. Phil was a hard one, I will say. He said from the get-go, you know, I'm grumpy and I don't care, and you know, I'm sort of, I do what I want. This is my farm. It's my way or the highway. And yeah, fair enough. Your farm, your name on the gate, mate. But you've got to be also open to new technology and new things and new ways of doing things, new ideas too, I feel. Otherwise you get left behind. But Diane was that lovely. She looked after me so much, you know. Yeah, that's she looked after me a lot. You know, we'd milk cows in the morning. We milked a lot of cows too. 50 rotary dairy, multi-million-dollar dairy, huge dairy. All the cows wore collars, we had computers, and pretty amazing stuff. But milked there for many years, and as I said, Diane really looked after me, took me under her wing. She used to cook me breakfast, you know, raisin toast and porridge, and on hot days, really hot days, that's lead, that one. On really hot days, she'd make me iced coffees and coffees in the morning, and yeah, look, it was really good. And she'd, you know, I was only young, so I didn't have my license, so she'd pick me up and drop me off. You know, I'd start at 6:30 in the morning milking cows, and then you know, milking morning and night. You'd be there all day, so I was really part of the family, I felt. You know, you'd milk the cows in the morning, you'd have breakfast. We'd even play cricket some mornings after milking. You know, during cricket season, Simon and Daryl would get out there and we'd play cricket. And Diane would be like, come on, you know, you got to get in and have brekkie, otherwise, you know, no job's going to get done for the day. And Simon would be like, oh no, we're on the 3rd innings, or, you know, we've still got half a match to go, or whatever. It was good, really good, really fond memories. Yeah, good memories. So I worked as a dairy farmer for Phil and Diane, Simon and Daryl, for many years. And then we moved on. So moving on from Phil and Diane's farm, I was there for a few good years on my apprenticeship. I did not finish my apprenticeship there though. I got offered to go and farm at another farm. And it was just a different farm, different setup. What I wanted to do at the time. So we did that, and that then led on to a different TAFE, obviously. I went to a new TAFE and actually won a couple of awards and did my AI course, Artificial Insemination, through Genetics Australia. Got 97%, and they actually said to me, I spent 3 days up in Sunbury doing that course, and they actually said to me, if you ever want a job, mate, you ever stop dairy farming, you want a job, you come and see us. You know what you're doing. Kind of AI stuff. But yeah, like that was all part of it. Herd testing, you know, AIing, calving season, milking. So much to do on a farm. So went and worked for another farmer for a little while there, and that was good. That was, you know, it's a good variation to check out new things, new places, new farms, and work on them too. And I did that, and I think I got a little bit better money there too, from memory. That's why I did the jump. Where's the gold? I'm not seeing it. Really mucking around with this. So I did that, and that then led on to, wow, what have we done with it? That then led on to a share farm. So I was a 35% share farm, or share farmer, meaning that I ran the farm. Whatever the farm brought in, profit-wise, I got 35% share. And yeah, okay, it was okay. Boy, geez, I was working though. It'd be nothing for me to be up at, 4:45 every morning. You think I'm silly for getting up for the gold at 4:30? Well, 4:45, I used to get up and have to milk cows. So, I do that, and oh, that's gold. It's a stonker too. So I'd milk cows, up at 4:45. That's not when they're calving down either, I will say. When your cows are calving down during spring, we call them springers basically. But during calving season, when your cows are calving, they're obviously out of the dairy. You're not having to milk them because they're out producing milk, waiting for their calf. And when they have their calf, the calf drinks the milk. But as soon as the cows calve, they get brought into the dairy. And you have to take the colostrum out of them to give to the calf for the first couple of days if they're not sucking or what have you. Like there's a lot to it. It's not just as simple as the cow calves you put in the dairy. There is a lot to it, and not all cows calve easily. The amount of times I'd have to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and get the old hip lifters out, because during calving season, you can't afford just to go to bed at 10 o'clock at night or midnight and wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. That 5 hour, 6 hour period, you could have a lot of issues, especially foxes. Foxes were one of my main issues. You'd often, I know this is bad, but bad to hear, bad to say, but you'd often go down the paddock and you'd find a calf, half its face eaten off. And I know that sounds really bad, but that's just the reality of it. Foxes are terrible, and they'd often attack the calves as they were being born from the mothers. They wouldn't attack the mothers, they'd attack the calves. Really, really sad to see. So, if you weren't up, I said you get up at 2 o'clock in the morning just to go down around the paddock, and you'd always keep your springing cows, your calving cows around the house. So you get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and you go around the paddock with a torch and check your cows. And God forbid one was calving or a fox was out there, you had to help it. You had to do something. You couldn't just go back to bed. And God forbid you slept in and you didn't wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning to go check your cows. 5 o'clock the next morning you go out and you'd find a cow dead, giving calf, and she died, and because she couldn't give calf, or you'd find the calf dead and the cow running around going crazy in the paddock because she's lost her calf. So it was a lot of work, but I took on share farming, and I did that for 18 months, 2 years nearly. And there was I won't get right into it because it was quite tragic. I will say it in the next clip, but there was a big issue why I left there and why I finished up there, and a reason why I went back for a little period of time. As I said, we'll talk about that on the next dig. All right, next dig, and I'll explain the reason why I left the share farm position. Look, I don't mind hard work. That was beyond hard work. I was working 14, 15 hour days. Geez, I'd go home, it was all on me. I had a partner at the time, Amanda. She at the time was finishing year 12, so she'd jump on the bus every morning and I'd wave her goodbye from the dairy milking the cows. I was only 22, 23, from memory. 21, I think. Look, I can't. It's casting my memory back. Dear. But I was so overworked, and I remember the first month the check come in, I thought, oh beauty, some money, I can live and pay bills and food, and I made $544 that first month. And as a dairy farmer, share farmer, 35% wage, you paid monthly, you know. I made that $544 the first month, and I thought, what the freaking hell? Like, it's not what I said. I said more, but like geez, I was working 80 hours a week, 90 hours a week some weeks, and I said up in the middle of the night, check your cows. It's just so, you got no time as a farmer, I tell you. And if you do, you're a lucky man, or woman. But I was so overworked, and I mean, as the cows come in calving, you know, they come into the dairy, I started making more as I started producing more milk. But then if you have an issue with, you know, high cell count, lactose count, mastitis with a bit of disease in the milk with the cows, you know, maybe bad grass or bugs in the grass or what have you, like there's a lot to it. Basically you're taxed on your milk, so when your milk gets picked up, you know, Fonterra was the company I used to supply, and they come pick up my milk and they do a cell count and lactose count, and if it come up high, my check would come in, but then it would be taxed, it'd be deducted, because your milk's not as good as what the other farmers are producing, and you're contaminating. You know, the truck might hold 30,000-40,000 litres and you're pumping in 2,000 or 3,000 litres, and it's mixing with the rest of the milk. So they've got to try and process all that out. So you're taxed for it, you're charged for it. God, he's still there. Or have we just... No, he's still in there. All right, we're going to get serious. So, look, I was really working me bum off. I was a young bloke, 21. Young bloke, 21. I'm still young. I'm 38, 37 actually. But I was working me butt off, and for nothing really, you know. And I had mates that had Monday to Friday jobs 5 days a week, and they were pulling in $1,000 a week at the time, you know. And here I was making $544 for the month. And that was my bad month, I will say. That wasn't every month. The best month I did was... The best month I did was $6,000 for the month. Now that's pretty good, I will say, especially for back then. But working my ass off, 13, 14, 15 hour days, and not only that, that wasn't every month. That I can only account for that being 1 month. So, and then not only that, you've got all these things that happen on the farm that, oh geez, they get you, stress you out. As I said, overworked, underpaid. And then when things go wrong, it's just a nightmare on top of a nightmare. It really is. Like, you want stress and hard work, go be a dairy farmer. But did that for 18 months, and that's the reason it made me leave. I was absolutely worked to the bone, and you know, I wasn't paid bugger all. And I will say, on top of that, and not going into it, but the bloke that owned the farm, he wasn't very fair to me at all, charging me extra things, and you know, just not all that fair. So I decided to pack up and get out. The hardest thing with that though, the bloke who owned the farm, well, he's my uncle. Let's set you up and get this one out together, and I'll explain more. Alright, so with the overworking and not much money compensation, you know, I can't tell you how much work I did there. God. And not much money to show for it. No one in their right mind would do that. Not unless it was your own farm, and it wasn't. So I finished up, but not long after that, sadly, my uncle and auntie were involved in a massive car accident. And sadly, I lost my cousin. They lost their daughter. She's only a couple of years old. She's come out on the farm. Haven't thought about it for years. She used to come out on the farm all the time and be in the truck with me and in the tractor and in the dairy. Beautiful little girl. So after that happened, I was asked to return for a while because they were all pretty banged up as well. My uncle was on a stretcher. My auntie was in a wheelchair. My other nieces and nephews were cousins, sorry, were not very well. And one of them passed away, as I said. So I went back and worked for quite a while because, well, there was no one else to and I had to. So I did it. Begrudgingly, I did it because of the tragic circumstances. Let's get on to the next. Alright, where were we? A little bit, it's funny how you relive memories like that. Like, I hadn't thought of Carolyn for years, and it's sad that I hadn't thought of her, but it's funny how you relive things, rethink things, and how they come back and hit you. So, went back and worked there for a while, for a time, and then finished up there, and that's when I started, actually moved back into town, and look, there's other stuff that was involved too, you know, breakup and relationship breakdown with my partner of 6 years, and then after that I moved into town and off the farm, what have you, or moved into town off the farm, I should say, and then the relationship breakdown took place. It wasn't on the farm that it took place. Oh dear. Anyway, it's another story. But I was working as a courier after that. I was working for a lovely couple, Dave and Sandra. They still have the courier company locally, and it was one of the best jobs I'd ever had in my life. It's just so fulfilling, such lovely people to work for. Like, I don't have a bad word to say about Dave and Sandra and their business and their company, and not that I would ever of anybody, but oh God, they're amazing people. Sort of like Diane and Phil, you know, dairy farming. They really took me under their wing. And I remember how I got the job was, I went in, I was, you know, Mum and Dad always taught us, you know, you really want something in life, you just go out there and get it. And that's what I've always done. And Dad used to always say, you know, a lot of people want a job, Luke, but they'll just sit there and say they want a job. I bet you go, mate, with your resume down to every shop or every place you want to work. You know, this is what he taught all of us as young kids. Take your resume in hand, go and approach employers. Well, he's just under that tree root, he is. And show them that you're keen. Show them, you know, front up to their business. Say who you are, resume in hand. This is what I want to do. Would you have any work? That's how you get a job. And an employer may not have something for you right then and there, but I guarantee you rock back up the next week or the next week or the next week, and you know, resume in hand once again, regardless of whether they've got it or not, and you say, I want a job. You're showing that you're keen. You're showing that you're there, you're ready, you're keen, you're wanting that opportunity. A lot of people won't do that. That's how I got the job. Looking for something new after dairy farming, and went into Dave and Sandra's, into the freight company, and never, ever done anything like that in my life. And it was locally, you know, local parcel delivering. Right, when I say parcels, I mean everything right from a satchel bag, you know, a little 1 kilo bag, all the way up to, you know, we used to deliver slabs of wine and beer and all that to the bowls clubs, fridges and TVs to Ball and Croft, and 100 dresses a day to Target and Kmart. And when I say parcel freight, it wasn't just parcel freight, a lot of heavy pallet freight as well. Treadmills, Crisco, bikes at Christmas, swim pools, you name it. But I took that job on, and how I got it, as I said, was resume in hand and just go and fronting up and approaching Dave and Sandra, and I remember saying to them about my back. I had a pre-existing back injury. I've got arthritis in the back, hereditary condition, nothing that anybody or anything's ever done. It's ankylosing spondylitis, a type of osteoarthritis. And I went in and I fronted up and I said that to Dave. I said, look, I do have a pre-existing back injury. I've done some hard jobs in my life, but I don't feel that my back injury will affect what I'm doing here. And he gave me the opportunity. And the reason being, as I said, he goes, I interviewed a few people that day. That's lead, bugger. He interviewed a few people that day or that week, and he rang me back and he said, mate, you've got the job, because in the freight game, there's nothing more serious than honesty and truth. And the fact that you were so honest in your interview and so truthful with us about your back injury, pre-existing, we'd love to hire you. We'd love to put you on. The last driver, in actual fact, the last driver they canned, he had been stealing freight. So it's not something they wanted again. So yes, I had a back injury, but for me to come in and be so honest and truthful, and that's how my parents had raised me, that's what got me the job. And hard work kept me the job. Let's get going. Alright, well, next one, next target, take you off Bluetooth. And as I said, my next job was working for David and Sandra as a courier. 6 years I was there. Absolutely loved it. It was, I did the town truck run, so I delivered to, I thought so, he's in the clump of clay. I delivered to all the shops in my local town. And I knew a lot of people already, but it really solidified and built up a lot of relationships around my local community, for me, especially, and just loved it. I loved it. It's bloody lead again. Jeez, we just better start getting serious. Stop digging rubbish. So yeah, 6 years I was there working, and I said delivered to every shop in town. Had a lot of social connectivity. You'd see someone for 5 minutes every day delivering their parcels, and you built up that friendship, that relationship with them. It was great. It really was. I really enjoyed it. And every morning you'd have a joke, or not everybody was like that, I will say. Some people were grumpy bums. Life got the better of them, I think, but or maybe they should change jobs or something. They just weren't happy, they weren't. But yeah, most people were like, really grateful to see you. You're almost like Santa Claus, bringing the deliveries in every day, bringing presents in. They're happy to see you. But I will say, as a courier, when something's not right, a delivery's short, there's supposed to be 6 and then there's only 3 boxes delivered. Maybe there's 1 box and it's got fragile or top load or this way up written all over it. Or keep refrigerated, medical goods. And someone doesn't. The amount of packages and things that I delivered broken, and it was not me, I swear to God. I would completely own up if I broke something. And I'd say, look, unfortunately this has happened. I remember breaking a box of wine. And I went to sit down on the ground and it slipped out of my fingers, and one edge hit first, and next minute the white box turned red. It was bleeding wine. And I just explained to the customer, look, I'm really, really sorry. It's been damaged during freight, during handling. I damaged it. This is a procedure to have it returned, and the company will replace it. Neither here nor there. It's not a big problem. You just got to be honest. I remember also damaging the work truck. I did a delivery at our local doctor's clinic, and you're always time poor as a delivery driver, watching the clock. And I was delivering to this doctor's clinic. I pulled into the car park, not many parks there. It's a shit of a place to get a park. And what I didn't realise is I'd pulled underneath a heap of trees. I knew the trees were there, but what I didn't realise is one of them had tucked its way behind the exhaust as I pulled up. So I heard this bit of a clonk. I didn't think much of it. I just thought, a few tree branches hit the cab of the roof, whatever. Big deal, happens every day. Jumped back in the truck on the way out, and I didn't look up as I walked out. If I had looked up, I would have spotted it. Look up and live, man. But walked out back to the truck at there's one. backed the truck back out of the car park, and well, I clean bent the exhaust in half. The truck went from like a to a where it couldn't even breathe. The exhaust was bent over. So I just went back to the depot and I said to my boss, yeah, look, this is what happened. He laughed, he did. And we spent the next hour up on the forklift on a pallet, bending it backwards with a big pipe. And still to this day, I see it getting around town, and guess what? That exhaust is still bent. Well, not bent, but it's got the kink in there. I laugh every time I see it. I'm like, yes, I did that. That's awesome. But you just be honest. It's like it's as simple as that. Like, I offered to pay for it. I said to Dave, take it out of me paycheck, mate. I'm really sorry. He didn't even flinch. He just laughed, as I said. Just be honest. So yeah, working as a courier for 6 years and absolutely loved it. And then we went on to where's that target? And then I went on to do a lot more mechanicking. So I started doing a lot of mechanicking. I'm going to put you on two hands this one. We'll get him out together. So started doing a lot of mechanicking. And I'll say this honestly, I knew literally nothing about cars or mechanics at that early stage of my life. So don't think it's come naturally. I've learned it all. But I started doing a lot of mechanics, and I started working for my cousin, Ben, and he was in a partnership with a fella named Michael. Oh yeah, that's gold. Basically, it was a 4x4 and RV place. Grab you off camera, tripod. So, went and worked for Ben and Michael. As I said, they were in a partnership. It was a young, early business. They were just starting out on their early venture, and they took me on as an apprentice. And I did that for quite a while. I had... Oh, look, I'll be completely transparent and honest here. Like I always am, but had a falling out with another bloke there. It nearly ended up in a punch on, calling me out the front, come on, come out the front, whatever. I said to him, mate, I'll go out the front, no worries, but I got an apprenticeship to lose. You don't. You only lose your job. If we go out and have a fight, fisticuff, you're not going to win first and foremost, but you're also going to lose your job, and I'm going to lose my apprenticeship. I've got more to lose than what you do. And at that time, Dominic was, he was 2 months old. And it was just before Christmas time. I think it was like the start of December. So I was on apprenticeship wages as a mechanic, having a bit of a scuff-up fight with another bloke, another mechanic. And I'd been there for well over 12 months. Like, I really had a good, solid position there. Apprenticeship and everything. And it was an early completion apprenticeship too, so I didn't have to do my full 4 years. I knew already so much, so I was just going to be signed off on all these elements and continue on my apprenticeship and be signed off early. So it was a real win for me. I really didn't want to lose that. Well, the boss come up, and my cousin too was the boss, like of all people. Didn't want to hear none of it, and said, you two go home. I don't want to deal with this shit. The business was failing at that time too, I'll just say it. 6 months after I was fired, the business closed. It failed. The partnership failed. So he probably wasn't in a good way anyway, and he didn't want the shit, I suppose, that me and this bloke, Jamie, were having a fight about. And I did not start the fight either. I'll say that. I'll stand my ground for anything that I don't believe is right, but I certainly did not start that fight. I just stood up for myself. And he was just being a wally. That's all I'll say. But, yeah, I got sent home. An hour later, get a call up from my apprenticeship manager at the time, Lockie. He said to me, mate, don't even want to know what's going on down there, which wasn't fair. He didn't even give me a chance to explain. He goes, I don't even want to know, don't even care. He goes, I'll tell you right now, you're done. You done working down there? I did nothing. All I did was stood up for myself. And as I said, he wanted to, this Jamie bloke wanted to take it outside. I didn't. I had too much to lose, and I ended up losing it anyway. A couple of weeks before Christmas, with 3-year-old boy and a 2-month-old son, newborn son. And my cousin knew that, and he still let me go, the prick. No explanation, no nothing, and I haven't spoke to him since. Yeah. Hold no regrets, but I'll definitely hold a grudge. Especially when you burn me like that. He did that, and I went out working for myself. Didn't stop me. I went out working for myself as a mechanic, and I had quite a few jobs actually. Car services, I did a full rebuild, I did a head rebuild on Hilux. I did alright. One day I went into a local motor mechanics, a Petters dealer, because he had a spring compressor, and at the time I was doing a job for a bloke where I'd lower his car, and he needed the springs changed, and I only had the the spring compressors at home. They're a bit dodgy, bit dangerous. Oh yeah, fish on. And so I went to see the bloke who ran a local business in town, which was a Petters dealer. Tim was his name. And I said to Tim, can I borrow your, I'll pay ya, but I'm doing a job for a bloke at the moment. Because he said to me, he knew that I worked for Ben and Michael. Well, he thought I still did. And he said to me, what are you up to, mate? What are you up to with yourself, fella? And I told him, I said, I'm out on my own now, doing my own thing, working for myself. And he said, would you ever consider coming here? I need a bloke like you. And well, I used his spring compressor. I paid for his spring compressor to use that day, and yeah, it got the better of me. I think about a month later, I called him and said to him, Tim, I'll take you up on that offer, mate. So I went and worked at a local Petters dealer. So I was back in the workshop again, quite happily. I had my own hoist, my own bay, my own workbench. I got, over the years, I built up thousands of dollars worth of tools. Thousands and thousands of dollars worth of tools, and I built up more while I was there. Tim did offer me, because when I lost my job prior, I lost my apprenticeship, that early completion apprenticeship. Tim did offer me to continue it on. He said, would you like to pick it back up again, mate? And to be honest, at that time, Dominic was about 6 months old. I'd been out on my own working for myself for a few months, and I financially couldn't imagine going back to apprenticeship wages, not very much. So it was such a hard decision, because I wanted my ticket, I wanted my certification, fully qualified motor mechanic. I'd done the TAFE, I'd done the time, got ripped off for the completion. So thought of going back to apprenticeship wages to Tim, and it was a great offer. I really did appreciate it, but I just said no. I said, look, I'm happy with what I'm doing, and I know where I'm at with my skill. I can't prove that to anybody else unless I work for them or show them. But yeah, look, I just don't think it's worth me finishing off my apprenticeship, Tim, financially. So I didn't. Bit of a shame, but just how it is. It's better be gold, because we've been digging a lot. Oh, it is! We've been digging a lot of lead. We're moving our way down the gully too. Well, actually, I will say, and Andrew said yesterday, he goes, oh, I don't care, mate. Just, bush is for everybody. And it is. But I'm sort of in Andrew's bottom gully at the moment, and I'm making my way. There's ants all over me. I'm making my way down to the dam. So the dam is just down below me, and then there's another dam, and that's where I'm heading. I'm going to have lunch down in the gully today. I'm going to show you something really cool when we get down there too. There's ants all over me. So yeah, long story. Working for one mechanic, fired, early completion, apprenticeship, lost. Went and worked for myself. That was great, and wasn't stable enough income though. You know, some jobs, some weeks I'd have lots of work, some weeks I wouldn't. So I took the job with Tim and went and worked for a local petters dealer. Can't talk properly, but you know, servicing 6 to 10 cars a day, gearboxes, motors, timing change, you name it, I did it. Look, just even simple things, machining rotors, rotating tyres, changing springs. We did a lot of machining rotors. Like I spent so much time on that machine. Oh dear, scathing rotors and balancing rotors up, and the pressing out bushes and diff bushes in forward territories, and lower control arms and upper caster arms. But a lot of fun, and it's a lot of skill. Like from what I've explained to you thus far, I have built up, not trying to talk myself up here, but I've built up a lot of valuable skills over the years. I could have took that first job being a builder and nothing else, and I would have known building, but nothing else. So I've done a lot, been a lot of places, and with that, I've been lucky enough to build up quite a skill set, which I'm very fortunate for. Let's keep going.